Why did I move here? I guess
It was the mysteries, myths, and other strange happenings in Los Santos. Today we take a deep dive into the strange and convoluted iceberg theories of GTA Online. The iceberg map comes courtesy of user Proven Beat on Reddit. These also include story mode only theories. I'll be sure to point these out when we get to them. If you aren't familiar with how the iceberg theories work, the more commonly known theories and notes are at the top, breaching the surface, but as we get deeper, the iceberg becomes darker, larger, and less common knowledge is revealed. And remember, these are just theories, some facts, and mysteries that are fun to know and question. This is an old iceberg theory list, and there are a few videos out there already about this topic, but in the time that's passed, new information has come out which can be applied to most of the theories on here. Leave a like if you enjoy the video or learned something new, dislike if you didn't, maybe subscribe if you want. Let's get started. Starting at the tip of the iceberg with colored headlights. If you didn't know, you can change the headlights of any car that can be customized in the Arena workshop, and more recently you can do them at the Ellis car meet as well. On certain tuner cars you can also change the headlight glass, and combining that with the lights can make it look pretty cool. Alien Wars started back in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Players would equip a purple or green alien suit and attack players wearing the opposite colors, usually with melee weapons. A fun bit of space racism that lasted a short while. Snow appears for about 3 weeks during the winter, and just as suddenly as it appears, it disappears as well. Locals seem unfazed by this phenomenon, and the city doesn't seem bothered by it either since they never plow the roads. Laser weapons appeared in ammunition during the Arena War content update, the Widowmaker, Up and Atomizer, and the Unholy Hellbringer. These weapons are the ones used by the Republican Space Rangers in the in-game TV show. With the Drug Wars update, they were removed from ammunition and can now only be found in the gun van if it is in stock at the time. Railgun was originally a story mode only weapon that came with the enhanced edition of GTA 5 in 2014. It was available in certain online missions and events to use at first, and finally became available to purchase from the gun van with the Drug Wars update. It's definitely a must-have weapon for me for doing difficult missions against tough enemies. I consider the secret vehicles theory to be uncommon vehicles that don't spawn under normal circumstances, such as the Dubsta 2 and Mariachi car. The Dubsta 2 you need to be already driving a Dubsta 2 for it to spawn, and is extremely rare. And the Mariachi car you can find at a secret event in Rat Canyon. There are also rare pre-customized versions of street cars like the Sentinel XS, Rat Loader, and Sand King. I'd also give an honorable mention to the tow truck. The tow truck used to be available in online, but it was removed when hooking multiple tow trucks together were found to cause game crashes and other bugs. We did kind of get it back with the Chop Shop DLC, however the only way to use it is during the salvage missions where you have to tow a certain car back to the salvage yard. You can't tow any other cars even though the hook seems to magnetize to other ones, but I'm sure Rockstar knew what was going to happen if they didn't change anything. The Stone Hatchet is a one-hit kill melee weapon that will reward the player with Trevor's ability from story mode for a short time. Killing 25 people with it will unlock it for Red Dead Redemption 2, and you can find it at a burial site north of Lake Owangila. The hatchet is also throwable in Red Dead 2, which is very cool. I hope in GTA 6 we get some throwable stuff. This topic is quite vague and hard for me to understand exactly what it means. I think it's probably referring to the junkyards and scrap cars littered in them. Something small to consider is the word grave. And graveyard is usually used when the burial ground is near a church or right beside it. So this location is correct. A more fitting title would be car cemetery. It could maybe mean an actual grave with the car as the grave or coffin. I haven't found anything to prove that though, so let me know what you think this could mean in the comments. The Altruists are an interesting bunch of folks. They are a group of baby boomers living in a camp in Chiliad's wilderness state, believing that all generations before them are the cause of the world's problems. Minimal contact with the world outside the walls, and naked, only in story mode however. They have a distaste for technology, even though some will use cars, guns, and they even have a website. Pause to read if you want, but don't take it too seriously. BCRCH stands for Blaine County Radio Community Hour. Hosted by Ron, it is a call-in style radio show that talks about conspiracy theories, the apocalypse, aliens, and everything in between.
And sometimes I doze off. or swerve off the road a bit while, masturbating.
Example, a coal miner doesn't want to make solar panels. How is he going to look his boy in the face and say, I'll make them there big, tough solar panels, boy. Let's go have some quinoa and almond milk.
This is referring to the edge of the map where vehicles are suddenly destroyed, planes will fall from the sky, and boats will sink into the ocean. The player will survive, but be left with the choice of swimming back to shore or taking the easy way out. Blue Hell is a name given by the community to the empty under-map area. There's been a big history of wall breaches that are used to access the Blue Hell, including one where you can fit a plane through. It's blue because it uses the sky's texture, so Sky Hell could be considered a more accurate name if it happened to be rainy or cloudy that day. North Yankton, a location you begin your GTA 5 journey at. Players were able to glitch North Yankton into the online map out over the ocean. You may still be able to get there legitimately, but it's a very lengthy process, I'm sure. Many parts of the area are unfinished, and players could easily fall through the map as it was only available for 2 missions in game. But you can kind of see where the textures stop loading in, so just be a little careful. It's still a very cool area to check out, and I do wish we saw some kind of DLC like Caraparica where we could travel here. The Infinity Killer was a ruthless murderer that lived in Sandy Shores and murdered 8 joggers in 1999, leaving clues around Sandy Shores to where the bodies were hidden. You can find these bodies north of Paleto Bay by these islands. You can also explore the remains of his home in Sandy Shores. There's also a special newspaper you can find only in story mode that explains the killer's fate. To keep it simple, the Epsilon program is a satirical portrayal of the religion Scientology. There's even an actor, celebrity type member of the cult who seems to be a parody of Tom Cruise. During the story mode missions, you are tasked with donating money and doing mundane missions in order to quell your antithesis.
5,000. You're neither thesis nor antithesis.
You're nothing.
So Chris said I could hunt for extraterrestrials out here using this incredible meter. This? It? I don't know. Is this it?
If there is doubt in your mind, you're an antithesis, and the metaverse will not reveal its secret.
This is it. I am 110% unequivocally positive this is it.
Then you understand, Zondar.
I understand that this is fucking it.
Good. Then you know what it costs.
$5,000.
10.
Your antithesis is almost quelled.
Oh, it was so great!
I'm very reasonably priced, too. It's easy. Just bring a small donation to Chris at the Epsilon Center in the city.
But first, you must wear your medal and your attire and run 5 miles through the desert.
In online, when you die for the first time, you meet the leader of the cult, Chris Formage, who explains the passive mode for players in free mode. If you drink a Macbeth whiskey from the nightclub, you have a chance of being teleported to the Epsilon Temple wearing a Kiflam t-shirt, and if you tip the attendant who says Kiflam in the bathroom enough money, you'll be rewarded with the Epsilon Robes outfit. During a Lamar and Franklin mission, you meet Jimmy Boston and Marnie Allen again, who want to improve Lamar's bud business.
You fucking with me, right?
And most recently, with the Drug Wars missions, you were tasked with poisoning their herbal botanical farms, which Dax says is code for mind control juice. If you've been using the MC businesses in your criminal career, I'm sure you've noticed something about LJT. His speech pattern, demeanor, and topics of interest line up very closely to Lester Crest. There's even a voice line that nearly gives it away.
Hey, it's JT. We got trouble at work. Get over there, or you'll lose product.
In story mode, you'll find that Lester's iFind address is teabag99 at iFind.com. The GTA 5 community seems to agree that LJT stands for Long John Teabag. However, I don't know exactly if this is ever confirmed in-game. In a phone call after failing a cell mission, he will hang up using part of his name.
I'll tell your employees that it was all for bupkis, huh? Long John, fuck it off.
Then put everything else together with the slight possibility that this might be a reference to Dread Pirate Roberts, which is the name that Ross Ulrich, the creator of the Silk Road, used for his dark web drug marketplace, which is the real-life counterpart of the Open Road marketplace in GTA Online. It does seem to make sense. As some of you may know, the mechanic used to be a physical delivery man who'd drive your car up to you when requested. This led to some problems where the mechanic may get scared and drive off with the player's car, or even destroy it, and it also led to many car duplication and money glitches. Rockstar eventually changed this to where the car will just spawn near the player. As I'm sure most of you who have played this game have noticed, many AI drivers will randomly vibe check your vehicle. This is constantly seen when doing cell missions and especially when exporting vehicles. That was pretty obvious. With the vehicle export business, maximizing profits requires the vehicle being exported to be clean and in good condition, getting no damage to the vehicle for the best payment, and it seems that Rockstar has put this AI behavior in place to directly counter the player's efforts of a clean delivery. However, it's not exclusive to export missions, and you may encounter this behavior during business sales and free mode as well. There are many references to the Illuminati or all-seeing eye across Los Santos. Most of these are either small nods or unintentional, as there isn't anything much deeper than just a physical resemblance to the all-seeing eye's characteristics. The ghost of Mount Gordo is the spirit of Jolene Cranley Evans, who was murdered by her husband Jock Cranley, a governor candidate for San Andreas in GTA 5, and an actor and stuntman in GTA Vice City Stories. Jock was pursuing a career that conflicted with Jolene's interests, and it's implied he pushed her off the ledge of the mountain. However, Jock was never convicted and seems to be thriving to this day. Come to this location at 11 PM or 2300 hours on the cell phone. When you approach her in story mode, she'll disappear, however in online she seems to stay there. By where her feet would be, you can see the name Jock written on the rock in a red substance. And sometimes you can hear ghostly screams and perhaps the final words of Jolene Evans by a campsite south of the mountain. A nameless grave is exactly that, a grave atop a mountain with no labels or markings indicating whose grave it could be. Some believe it could be haunted as it is nearby to Mount Gordo, however nothing concrete has been proven and no ghosts have been seen. Not too long ago, players used to purposefully crash their internet connection for a quick moment to disconnect themselves from public session lobbies. Reason being that you could not sell any of your businesses or products without being in a public lobby, meaning that there's always a chance of griefers destroying your product. But in the summer of 2022, Rockstar made a change so that players can sell in invite-only sessions. Huge dub for solo players and a huge dub for Rockstar for making that change. This is referring to the many business-exclusive websites, like Pixel Emporium for the arcade, Nightclub Management app for Nightclub, Disruption Logistics and Mobile Operations for the Bunker and MOC, Free Trade Shipping Co. for the Hangar, SecureServe for special cargo and vehicle warehouses, and the Open Road, of course, for MC businesses. Obviously, these websites are illegal and part of the darknet, and darknet usage is quite prominent in this trade. This is nothing more than the game being unable to display certain text characters from other languages or certain symbols in the game's font. There's a couple rare peyote plants that allow you to turn into Bigfoot. These aren't the only references to him, as during the story mode mission Predator you can spot a thermal image of him for a brief time before he disappears. And at 100% completion of the game, a Strangers and Freaks mission appears where you hunt Bigfoot. Spoiler alert, it turns out to be a man in a costume with some perfectly normal reasoning behind what he's doing.
Make it stop, human!
Man, shut the fuck up with that bullshit! What the fuck is wrong with you running around the woods in a costume?
I'm the last of my kind.
You fucking freak.
Hey! I'm no freak! It's perfectly normal to admit to being aroused role-playing dressed as a fantastical beast.
What the fuck?
In online, when the peyote plants are available, there is one by Grapeseed that will turn you into a Sasquatch. And if you logged in during the 2022 Halloween week, you will have unlocked the Sasquatch outfit for your player to wear. Speaking of peyote, many peyote plants are littered across Los Santos, and when consumed by the player it gives a hallucinogenic experience, turning the player into a variety of different animals. Sadly, these are only available during the Halloween week of GTA Online. Even more sad, they were not here at all during the 2023 Halloween week. They did arrive for a week or two back in January 2024, after that they're gone for another year. If you own businesses or properties, you've probably noticed the fees and payments made to keep the properties maintained. This happens every 48 minutes or every in-game day. However, this can be avoided by switching sessions mid-game. This will reset the timer, and if done consistently, you'll never have to pay property tax again. This is probably referring to the many modders that would drop cash on players during sessions with mod menus, looping the game mechanics to constantly drop money on their heads. And I'm just thinking about this now, but it could also be referring to the missions like Rooftop Rumble, where before all the patches came in, all you had to do was destroy the briefcase that you were supposed to collect and the mission would complete. And back then you were able to replay it instantly after the mission completes, so maybe that's what the loop means? And the closed part could mean that Rockstar's patched it out now. I'm not 100% sure, so definitely let me know what you think. Killing prostitutes after services will drop enough cash to refund the player plus interest. Mile High Club, a construction building that never seems to be finished. Reasoning could be that in story mode during one of Lester's assassination missions, Franklin is tasked with killing Enzo Benelli, a mafia turned real estate businessman who is now in charge of the Mile High Club construction site. Lester mentions that Gold Coast Development is about to go bankrupt, and shortly after completing the mission their stocks go up by a good margin. A bit later in the story, Franklin has to kill or incapacitate the architect of the Mile High Club and steal his briefcase with the FIB building blueprints in it. And about 8 years later, Franklin realizes that the CEO of Gold Coast Development isn't as good a person as he originally thought.
I did some work a while ago that gave this asshole market value a boost, but that was before I heard what a piece of shit this fucker really is.
And through the payphone tasked the online character with assassinating him. After all this time and all these terrible circumstances that happened to the developers of the site, it's really no wonder why the building hasn't been finished yet. This topic claims that police officers will behave different and perhaps more violent towards players of color. There's a cool video by Game Theory about this topic, and the results were interesting, so I do recommend checking it out. I tried recreating some of the experiments they did, but for the most part there is no difference of police behavior based on skin color. This one I'm a little lost on as there are many conflicting statements I've read that try to explain it. Some say it's about how the lock-on for missiles will lock someone farther away when an obvious threat is much closer. I've also heard people say when locking NPCs it can mean that they're armed even if they're not targeting you. And some say that during the Doomsday Heist Deluxo setup that a BF surfer is scripted to drive by, which would be the true threat. However, I haven't found any evidence supporting this, so please let me know in the comments if you have an idea what this true threat could mean. Ever gone to the Diamond Casino? I'm willing to bet money that you've greeted the valet with a firm handshake and definitely not a gruesome, borderline inhumane death. Rockstar obviously noticed this and added a valet to the morgue where you can see it during a prep mission for the casino heist. Lester has some voice lines regarding it.
Oh God, there's been a horrible accident. It's the Diamond Valet, 5th one they've lost this week. Now, I don't want to prey on tragedy, but this is starting to look like a serious case of workplace negligence.
This is mostly a gameplay mechanic, as a spin on the wheel every 48 minutes, which is one in-game day, might be a bit too quick for players to get free rewards. It also makes sense from a real-life casino's perspective, as one spin per month is much more reasonable when there's a chance to win a luxury car. Damn it. You may have noticed that entering the casino with a wanted level is allowed, while places like the office and apartment buildings require you to be out of sight from the cops before entering. Players have theorized that the casino is in cahoots with law enforcement and bribes them to ignore players or customers that have a wanted level. This could be that the casino doesn't want to drive away business, or really cares about their patrons. Another could be that the police arrive immediately after the casino is robbed, suggesting that the Duggans paid them off. The real explanation, however, is much less dramatic, as the game mechanic required to be out of sight from the police had been removed for properties and businesses added after and with the bunkers. The Galaxy livery and many other exclusive liveries are limited time rewards players can get, usually by logging in during a time frame of a week or so. It's possible to merge this livery with other cars too to get more exclusive options that might never be available legitimately. But to my knowledge there's no working merge glitch right now, so you might have to wait for the special rewards to be active again to get it. Possible for modders to change the colors of the sky. In certain adversary and other game modes there will sometimes be a special weather effect or filter that changes the sky color to a green or orange. It's my understanding that somehow modders can access this type of file and change it for the session. This is just referring to the many wall breaches you can find around the map and how your player can slip through them. I like to think of it as all the atoms in our player's bodies perfectly meshing with the atoms in the wall or whatever you're phasing through. glitch that allows clothing to be merged or bugged where certain limbs can appear invisible. It's pretty common for tryhards to be using this as it can give a bit of an unfair advantage in PvP. I don't believe the hitbox has changed, but a smaller target will almost always be harder to hit. I believe this is referring to a glitch that can happen in the Diamond Casino heist where players are able to cut out the paintings while drilling into safes for a bit of bonus money. I haven't been able to do it myself recently, so I think it is patched, or I might just be very bad at doing it. There is no ability to change sex in game. This could be because of clothing options where male and female have pretty different clothes and characteristics for them, and owning clothes that are incompatible with your character seems pretty pointless, and that may cause deeper problems within the coding, but I'm not 100% sure, so let me know what you think. Some masks are pretty much new heads, as not all can fit perfectly while being the proper scale. You might notice this while doing a mission and having a cutscene play. Most, if not all, cutscenes will forcibly remove the mask and your character may look a little different. This could refer to another clothing glitch that makes the character's outfit looks like, you guessed it, checkerboards. I'm not 100% sure what the reasoning behind why people want checkerboard outfits is. It's definitely rare, so I can give them that, but it doesn't look that cool in my opinion, and it's pretty low resolution. Everyone's got their own thing though, so you can definitely check out some videos on that for how to get it. When doing yet another clothing glitch, the female character will have blue nipples. Auga! Boobies! Boobies! It's a little odd that in story mode strip clubs the nipples are not blue, but it may be because of different censorship laws required in online and in different regions of the world. In story mode, sprinting for too long can result in what some call a heart attack. However, I think this is pretty exaggerated. The character's health bar will turn and flash red. Soon after, the character will fall over. However, I have never died when this happens, so it could be just running out of breath, but heart attack definitely sounds cooler. Players have theorized that GTA 5 has parallel universes to different lengths. Obviously you can see that in story mode, the Diamond Casino is completely different to the same location in online. Same thing with the Maze Bank Arena and when it changed with the Arena War DLC in online. Rockstar even added a little collisionable flag above the main door, which is pretty cool, you can fly into it. It's not that deep of a topic as Rockstar has completely moved on from story mode, so of course the online world will go through changes. It could also be referring to Rockstar's categorization of them, meaning the 2D, 3D, and HD universes. 2D meaning the games before GTA 3, 3D for games between 3 and 4, and HD universe for GTA 4 until present. Most of you may know the online character you play as is Mute. Many characters mention this and even poke fun at it.
Ah, what a surprise! My favorite Mute.
You gonna say something, dog? I got enough of the strong, silent, creepy types with these here folks, man.
What do you say? Oh, not very much, I imagine.
However, there are some sounds that the character can make. If you happen to take 3 or 5 pictures inside the casino, I can't remember the exact number, the casino security will throw you out and you can hear the character make a grunt sound. People say these are remnants of the original plans to voice the online character. However, I have heard some of these grunts come from other NPCs when I run over them with my car, so I don't believe that that theory is accurate. And I'm not sure how many people notice this, but when using your microphone in game chat, your character will open the mouth to simulate them talking. So the real answer is that you are your character's voice. Many people in the GTA myth hunting community speculate that Rockstar is aware of what they do and purposefully hides certain game files under different names. This could mean changing the title of the file or placing it in a different folder to throw the data miners off track. Some believe that Rockstar can hide the file from view entirely. However, I'm not sure how accurate this could be, as I do believe most games require like all the game files to be accessible. I could be wrong, I don't do any game coding, so if you happen to know, drop a comment. This refers to the inconsistencies with the size of the building or vehicle related to the size of its interior. It's quite noticeable in the Avenger and MOC. Of course, this is meant for quality of life, as having the actual interior size of most things would be very cramped. What she knew is one part of many messages carved into walls around Los Santos, and is part of a murder mystery Easter egg kind of thing that came with the Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game. Finding all the clues around the city will eventually lead you to the deep waters around Fort Zancudo. Near a shipwreck, you'll find a woman with cement shoes at the ocean floor. A short audio file will play, and the next step is to head to Solomon Richards' office after 9 p.m. to read a secret confession letter. This letter, dated 1949 and addressed to David Richards, Solomon's father, is from Fred Quincy, the founder of Fred Pictures Film Studio. The letter contains his confession to the murder of one of his associates named Isaac. The two had a disagreement in the media they wanted to produce, which led to Isaac's death. His body was hidden in the mine shaft deep in the mountains, and after completing this side mission, you can unlock 2 vintage filters to use in-game. Funny enough, this isn't the only murder confession letter that David Richards has received. Collecting 50 scrap letters around the map will reward the player with a readable letter addressed to David Richards again from Peter Dreyfus, and this confession is related to the murder of Leonora Johnson in 1975. GTA 5 and Online have many extraterrestrial encounters, most of which are in story mode. However, like I said before, there are a few alien costumes and weapons to acquire in Online. The most interesting were the UFOs that surrounded Los Santos and could abduct you during Halloween 2023. In story mode, you can find the frozen alien in North Yankton, a sunken spaceship in the ocean, be abducted by one during the mission where you get drugged by Jimmy, and even more interesting are the 3 flying UFOs you can see in free mode. The first one is above Fort Zancudo, close to maximum height. You must jump from the plane and parachute down for it to appear, but sadly you cannot land on or pilot it. But user Sazo2300 on Reddit was able to extract certain game files to reveal what the pilots of the UFO look like. They certainly look like unfinished models, which I sort of expected, but it makes me wonder if Rockstar had bigger plans regarding extraterrestrial encounters within the game. Another can be seen on top of Mount Chiliad when at 100% completion of story mode, and it is stormy weather, but it seems getting too close to this one will make it go invisible. And the last one is seen far above sandy shores, and getting too close to this one will have it push you away. This is a phenomenon rarely encountered in the San Andreas woodlands. Apparently it will drain your health and play a sound like tinnitus until the player returns to civilization. There's one video on YouTube I've seen that in all honesty looks and sounds pretty convincing. However, there are many more videos claiming to bust this myth, and so far I have not been able to recreate it myself. This may have been patched out since the release of Mark Pagan's video, but let me know if you've experienced anything like this. It may just be extremely rare. There is a house in the Vinewood Hills area that has a window that bleeds when shot at. All other windows around the house are normal, as well as the same window in Online. Is it a bug? Easter egg? Multi-level conspiracy? I have no idea. All over the Gran Sonora Desert are these red arrow signs. If you follow the path they set, it leads you to an abandoned motel. I couldn't find anything interesting here, so I'm not really sure what it means. Maybe it's referencing YouTuber thumbnails, but who really knows? On the dirt trail in the little town of Harmony, there's an abandoned house. Supposedly, it's a place of paranormal activity. There are no ghosts or jump scares that I have found, but it sure does look spooky. North refers to the N on the minimap. However, for some reason it doesn't appear in Online. It's only visible in story mode for some reason, and you can actually go to it. Usually your vehicle will be destroyed if you go out this far. Using single player mods and making your vehicle invincible is the only way I know how to get there. After a very long time you can see it approaching closer on the minimap, and eventually you can hit it.
We're approaching north.
Here we go. Bam, that is north. Sadly there's no achievements or any collectibles, but kind of a cool Easter egg. This is an interesting one as I have personal experience with it. The Tongva Triangle refers to an area in the Tongva Valley around Fort Zancudo down to the mountains between there and the city, and apparently it is a place of high paranormal activity. I've experienced police vehicles spawning randomly. What the what? What is that? It's only me in here. What is going on? What? I even spawned in a cage one time when I was in an invite-only session and switched to another invite-only session. Be very careful when around this area and document anything you find out of the ordinary. Players have claimed to notice atmospheric anomalies such as flying jellyfish, falling black dots, and freakish clouds. I haven't seen any evidence of these anomalies in GTA 5, however, the falling black dots are proven to be in GTA San Andreas. In my opinion, these seem like optical illusions or graphical bugs and glitches. Some have even been described as bundles of disembodied textures flying across the sky but without animations, which leads me to believe these are just myths. Many players have stated that GTA Online is on a downhill slope related to fun in the game, recently removing almost 300 cars for purchase from in-game websites, reducing payout for the biggest heist and best money method in the entire game, and many other poor design choices. This one sort of ties into No Fun Allowed. Rockstar seems to add vehicles and weapons specifically attracting griefers like the Oppressor Mark II, orbital cannon, military jets, and helicopters. The game seems to be focused on more offensive opportunities for players rather than defensive, especially considering the vehicles that you must use to sell business product, which are almost always slow, sad sacks of potatoes with minimal armor and defense, while griefers could use pretty much anything else. I'm sure everyone has gotten phone calls that serve no purpose other than to be annoying. Brucey's BST, Dom's parachute missions. These apparently always happen whenever I'm in a high stakes situation. Most of the time it's a mild annoyance, but the unskippable English Dave calls were the bane of my existence. These can be avoided by doing whatever the phone call is about. I know I get Dom's calls a lot about the parachute missions and I can't remember if I've ever done one, but after filming one for this video I haven't heard from him since. Not exactly a myth, but a theme among trollers and griefers or anti-griefers messing with players. This could be like hovering above in a jet, off radar, or just general trolling while not really killing the victim or doing what they expect you to. I'm not sure if it counts, but one of my favorite ways to get back at griefers is running over them kinda slowly in my Night Shark. You just keep bumping them, they'll keep knocking over and they can't do anything. If they do happen to get up, you can use the guns. They're a little weak, but with the massive amount of armor from the Night Shark and the fixed armored windows, it's a pretty fun way to mess with a griefer safely. The only thing that could point in this direction would be the clothing a little bit. There are a good amount of exclusive clothing options for female characters. However, with the lack of compatibility with male clothing options, especially with military style gear and scarves for some reason, it seems to be pretty evident that this is the case. However, an afterthought is not the best way I would describe it, considering that many cutscenes involving the online protagonists will have people referring to them with proper gendered pronouns. Clearly Rockstar planned to have female characters from the beginning.
What that shit do, you big old pimp, you?
God damn, girl, you fine as a motherfucker. Ooh, I mean that like not like in a stalker type way or nothing. I'm just saying, like, you do look good.
Thank you, my boy, thank you. I am honored to call you my son by another mother, if you know what I mean. Peace and love. You have done me proud. Thank you, my girl, thank you. You are the daughter I never wanted. Seriously, I mean that, Liberation has done much for your gender. I honor your boundless fertility of imagination.
The only connection I could find to paralysis is the ragdoll mechanic somehow bugging out, making the player unable to move. Falling under a blown up plane carcass could be a fun way to recreate this, as the player seems to be stuck. However, they do still move, they just keep hitting their head and keep falling down, either until they die or get teleported out. Apparently during the early days of GTA Online, some players would get invited to new contact missions. Some would fail to load, and if they did work, it was usually without any financial reward. There were a few missions cut from story mode too. One that sticks out to me is the one called Harrier, which is most likely referring to the Hydra jet. It used to be called the Vulcan during early development, and you can see it in the GTA 5 trailer too, where it shoots 2 missiles at once. Sadly, it didn't come out to the game until about 2 years later with the GTA Online heist update. It is a not so common rumor that game developers purposefully add or create bugs and fix them later to increase job security. It wouldn't surprise me if this is the case, considering the amount of bugs we've seen in GTA 5, and the Rockstar is a highly admired game company with plenty of people wanting to work for them. They might be doing this to convince Take-Two, their parent company, that they still focus and work on the game, but nothing has been confirmed and probably never will be. But keep that in mind next time you encounter simple or not so simple bugs in various games.
Los Santos is not a very animal-friendly neighborhood, considering most of the land is occupied by human creations. In all likelihood, the wildlife are not around, probably because of game limitations. Especially in online, as in story mode, there are quite a handful of animals to encounter. However, with a recent update to the next-gen consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox Series ones, animals are now abundant around Los Santos, which is very cool. I really wish we had this on PC.
This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's theorized that the counterfeit cash business run by players has ruined and inflated the economy. And since all business is conducted within Los Santos, it's no wonder why everything has been getting increasingly pricier. However, with GTA Online constantly getting more popular through the years, in turn the amount of shark cards purchased also becomes more popular. New DLC also introduces new ways to make money, and this loop of more money methods and businesses coming out with each content update definitely has a part in the inflation of GTA Online cash. Omega is a hippie you can meet in GTA 5 story mode who claims to have had alien encounters and was visited by them. Truth is a hippie in GTA San Andreas who claims to know about secret alien tech and government experiments in Area 69.
Yo, Truth, come here, man.
Is that Samuel L. Jackson?
Some think that these could be the same people, as they have many similarities between them, like the topic of interest, clothing, and demeanor, but Truth seems to be much older than Omega, so timeline-wise this wouldn't make much sense. This is a far-reaching theory suggesting the world has put the most dangerous criminals, phenomenons, and other problematic things onto this island so they cannot escape. Vehicles immediately dying upon traveling too far from the island could be evident of this, as well as the military-grade weaponry, purchasable underground facilities, exotic cars, submarines, tanks. I believe all of these are to distract the residents of Los Santos with fun new toys. However, Cayo Perico kinda debunks this, as I don't think whoever organized San Andreas as an exclusion zone would allow flights in and out of the island. Nothing concrete about this one, however stay tuned till the end because there's another ARG thing that is a lot more interesting in my opinion. This one could refer to the many rabbit holes and funky websites you could find on iFind. Unrelated to iFind, I came across this post on r/Chiliad Mystery that had this website linked. It appears to be a blog page sort of thing with quotes and values related to the Epsilon cult. All the comments seem to be anonymous, and the blog was active until about May 2005, almost 1 year after the release of GTA San Andreas. When it was active, it was a hotspot for many mystery hunters trying to get to the bottom of what this J-Blend mystery and the Epsilon program is all about. Some suggest that J-Blend was or is a Rockstar employee scattering hints across the internet about a secret related to the game, but nothing of much value ever came out of it sadly. Since that is more related to GTA San Andreas, this iFind ARG might be referencing some Twitter accounts that are named after companies in the game. They often make social media posts and announcements about their business. Some believe that these are created and run by Rockstar, but there's been no confirmation, and again nothing of much value ever came up. Baphomet is a deity allegedly worshipped by the Knights of the Templar. In-game you can kinda make out an image of it in the Alamo Sea created by the waves. However, you cannot see this with any current generation systems because of the lack of foam and air bubbles in the water. There does seem to be some other visuals you can make out in the water, which leads me to believe that these textures are just overlapping with each other or kind of mirroring. There do seem to be some other goat heads and owls around the map, which I've heard are a little bit symbolic of this, but nothing super convincing. This seems to be disproven as we consistently hear Lester and Franklin in online mentioning events that happen in story mode.
Cause see, I knew the dude that used to run the hits in this town, and he knew something most of the hatchet guys out there don't. The money only starts flowing when the stock market gets involved.
I already took every decent score in the state. I cleaned out the Union Depository. I took down the IAA and the FIB. I rang the bell on half the Boss Act 500 CEOs.
Even about previous games when Lester references GTA 4's Nico Bellic.
In the South, they all went down. There was an Eastern European guy making moves in Liberty City, but he went quiet.
The moon theory seems to be suggesting that the large size of the moon and the maps and barbershops with a much higher sea level than real life, that there was a massive flood caused by the moon. The large moon is interesting because in GTA San Andreas there is an Easter egg where when you shoot the moon in game, it changes size. Maybe canonically the moon was left at a larger size in San Andreas, and by the time GTA 5 is out, the sea levels have risen enough to flood the coast of the world. Under the website acceptthechaos.com, an atheist society website, there's an option to play God. After a few clicks, there's a photo of the flooded island of Narnapriku, according to GTAfandom.com, and Narnapuki by GTAfandom.com, Poland edition. It's quite hard to read on the website, and either names could be correct. This one was because of an earthquake, however, and unrelated to the moon. This is definitely referring to the end of the Doomsday heist and the Clifford drive that was said to be destroyed and lost after Avon's death by the FIB. After completing Act 3 of the Doomsday heist, Lester will call you and you might get this voice line.
The agents went over the wreckage. Avon was incinerated. All that was left of him was his hair plugs. No trace of Clifford, though, so either you disintegrated him too, or he's out there somewhere, just...
5 years later, when working with Agent ULP, it comes to light that the FIB had recovered what was left of Clifford, and has been selling the tech to the Duggan family to increase gas prices and profits for them.
Remember Clifford? Yeah, Avon Hertz's AI neural network with the minor genocidal glitch? Well, it's back. Or at least part of it is. That's what the Duggans have been using to control the price of gas. You're buying archived Clifford backup drives from the FIB. Idiots.
By the end of Agent ULP's campaign, you take out Duggan and acquire the briefcase with his Clifford tech inside and hand it off to the IAA, and after that all is apparently back to normal. But who's to say no one in the IAA will take a bribe and start the cycle all over again with a new bidder? Who's to say the Duggan family never sold it to other businesses while they were still under the radar? Avon's AI tech is still out there, and as long as it is never fully destroyed, it seems that Avon has certainly won. This one is quite interesting. It claims that when driving around Blaine County, or even flying or sailing far up north, while listening to Blaine County Talk Radio after 11 p.m., the station will turn to static and a person will start reading numbers in Morse code. If you don't know what a numbers station is, it is a radio station that broadcasts certain numbers and codes and are often used to communicate with spies in foreign countries. These have been used since World War I and were most abundant during the Cold War, and there are two not so compelling videos that claim to prove this myth in GTA 5. Right away I'm a little skeptical because both these videos don't show the radio and have the character not driving the boat. Even a commenter points out some pretty solid flaws in the video. However, on the original forum for this topic, many people are stating to experience this radio interruption as well. After some back and forth and some speculation, the mysterious numbers were decoded from the radio station and came out with this. And with my expert knowledge of aviation from playing Digital Combat Simulator as well as this helpful commenter, we both say it looks like the HUD of a cockpit. User Pacifist Heavy shared an image of the string of numbers run through a SSTV decoder, and it absolutely looks like the HUD of some sort of aircraft. In the center you can see the crosshairs looking at some sort of dark circular object, and after some more speculation on the thread, user Luxor14 added another SSTV decoded image. This one, however, is completely different to the one before. This new image is decoded from the second video that this forum relates to by Nanobyte. More speculation came and went, and soon after it was noticed that this new image was basically the same photo NASA took on its Apollo 11 mission. The users that had claimed video evidence stopped responding to the thread shortly after this, and it's decided that the audio in those videos were faked, but the images and numbers that were decoded were real. And with no one else coming forward with video evidence, after about a year it was a closed case. In conclusion, it seems that these were just two elaborate wild goose chases started by two trolls online. There are a handful of programs you can use to easily convert images into audio, and in this case it was converted to letters and numbers read by a speech-to-text generator. So what's the point of all this?
I guess we'll never know.
This one doesn't make any logical sense to me. Lester throughout online makes references to story mode plenty of times, and I don't see any reason why Lester would have a clone or need to be cloned for all that matter. Sure, he looks a little different compared to 2013, but I'm sure all of us do. I haven't found any info that suits this topic perfectly. The exploding part could mean the distant explosions you hear when loading into a session. I've heard that these were caused by the pilots of the large passenger planes despawning while the plane falls to the ground after. According to Dark Viper AU, they do this while you are inside a building and the planes fly a bit too close to it. However, I doubt that this is the only reason. At least in online I've heard explosions and even seen them during free mode and sometimes hear them after missions.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, what?
Whoa,
Something's exploding. Whoa.
Are they mining?
What is exploding?
What?
Oh, it's on. What?
Oh, what is this?
What?
Are cars spawning in each other?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And since there are no large passenger jets in Online, I believe it's probably vehicles that NPCs drive in general that somehow get damaged enough to explode. As for the disappearing clouds, I'm not exactly sure, so let me know what you think in the comments. This could be referring to honestly anything that could affect the sky. Like before with the adversary weathers, modders can sometimes control the session's weather, and it could definitely look like the sky is having a seizure. In my opinion, the closest thing is only in story mode as far as I know, but during a random event with Trevor where a man sneaks behind and tases you, instead of letting that happen, set up C4 and blow him up after he stuns you. This forces the game to keep the effect on your character. It gets very annoying very fast though, so I don't recommend. This one doesn't make sense to me since selling mod menus opens up way too many possibilities for players to make money and grief others, and if Rockstar were to sell them, it would completely sabotage their own game, as well as gaining minimal revenue from the menus when far more could come from shark card sales. I have heard some theories that Rockstar would do this to catch cheaters, however that's only speculation and no solid evidence has come up. On a side note, Rockstar did recently acquire CFX.RE, who are responsible for the 5M mod, which could mean many different things, but I'm hoping they work together to combine the best of both programs for the players to enjoy. Even though this topic is deep in the iceberg, I don't believe it's anything special, as DDoS attacks are nothing new to the gaming world. There has been a fairly long history of DDoS attacks in gaming. Some of you might even remember the attack on Xbox and PlayStation servers during Christmas of 2014, when over 150 million people were unable to use their brand new consoles. GTA 5 hasn't been a stranger to this either. Changes in software updates have made the game stable, but there's always a possibility of another attack. Most of the time these DDoS attacks are caused by players' mod menus and boots the target offline. Depending on the mod menu, this could mean being disconnected from GTA Online, losing internet for the device altogether, or in extreme cases, losing the Wi-Fi or internet across all devices connected to the target's network. In too many public sessions I've played in, there's almost always someone in chat spamming their Discord offering mod menus or modded accounts. Many of these are scammers that offer cheap boosts and perks to your account and usually disappear after taking your money. Even some full-fledged professionally made mod menus have suddenly left with no trace or sign of coming back, taking their patrons' money and pretty much skipping town. Console players are also targets of these scams, as it is almost impossible to have unofficial files run on them. During the summer of 2020, there was an extremely game-breaking bug that could get players millions of dollars in about 1 minute. It involved purchasing this garage and putting it in slot 6 of your properties, then purchasing the cheapest garage available, placing that one in slot 6, and then the trade-in price is increased relative to the player's office property that they own, making the trade-in price a max of $2 million. Shortly after, one of the largest ban waves and character wipes in GTA Online history happened. It's theorized that Rockstar did this to catch everyone who exploits money glitches and stop them. I can see both sides of this theory on this one, as Rockstar would be losing tons of potential revenue from players no longer purchasing shark cards, and obviously a glitch this easy and effective would destroy the economy forever if left unchecked. But considering Rockstar employees were probably working from home during this time, I can see it as completely accidental, and though the punishment is harsh, Rockstar has never been very lenient with exploiters and glitches regarding money in the game. In the early age of GTA Online, some player-created crews were inspired by groups like the KKK and Nazis, and would meet in-game.
The KKK are back! The KKK!
These groups are far less common nowadays, but still pop up occasionally. This one was reported enough that Rockstar removed the crew emblem, but the crew still remains open to join. With mod menus becoming so common, especially on PC, the protections against other mod menus have also become more common and more advanced. Many menus allow users to have options like anti-kick, anti-crash, block objects from spawning around themselves like cages, and even letting you know if other players are using mod menus in the same session. Some can see player-sensitive info, including but not limited to seeing who reports and votes to kick the mod menu user from the session. If in this situation you report the modder, you could be making yourself a bigger target than expected. Depending how pathetic the modder is, they may boo you offline, kick you from the game, sabotage your stats, flag your account as a cheater, or almost endless possibilities for a sad soul with a mod menu.
This one is quite vague. Many people speculate that Rockstar is hiding how much information they have about a player, like where they live. However, I believe this is more focused on modders again. Rockstar obviously has information like your IP address, and so do all the players in the online session. GTA Online uses a peer-to-peer networking system with server-handled matchmaking, which means everyone is connected and shares information with each other's console or computer. This is why in some games when the host leaves, you'll get a host migration notice. Because there is no dedicated server, it's mostly the players connecting to each other. This isn't something to worry about as many programs and games use this method, although dedicated servers are usually much more preferred by the players. And since peer-to-peer offers a direct connection to other players, modders can have a fairly easy time obtaining your information. This includes your IP address, which could also mean they can find out where you live if you happen to play games at your house, which most people do. Something similar happened with Dark Souls 3 a little while ago in 2022, which also uses peer-to-peer networking, where hackers could gain remote access to your computer with a remote code execution. This eventually led to the servers being shut down until a fix was released. Luckily, there's a way you can avoid this, which is a great segue into our lack of a sponsor for this video, more specifically any kind of VPN company. With a VPN, you have a new IP address that is not linked to your actual location or network. These offer a safe workaround for games and programs that use these type of server connections and over the general internet, much like using Tor for protecting your privacy online. And with that, we've reached the bottom of the iceberg. I hope you all enjoyed and found some of this interesting or helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments and your thoughts on these topics. I'd love to hear from you. This is also my first iceberg style video, so let me know what you think and if you'd like to see more. Thanks again for watching, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all later.